Hi, welcome to the podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start conversation on Unit 19, Universalisation of Elementary Education, and our topic is Initiatives, Innovations and Strategies. Although the Government of India has recently made concrete efforts to universalize elementary education, several initiatives were taken right after NPE 1986. Let us discuss the initiative taken after 1986. The first one is Operation Blackboard. The scheme of Operation Blackboard was launched in 1987. The basic aim was to improve the school environment and enhance retention and learning achievement of children by providing minimum essential facilities in all primary schools. According to this scheme, the following are provided to each school: at least two reasonably larger all-weather rooms with a veranda and separate toilet facilities for boys and girls; at least two teachers, one of them is a female, for each school, and essential teaching learning material including blackboard, map, chart, toys and equipment for work experience. As a part of this scheme, some 23,523 primary schools have been covered as originally envisaged with central government assistance. The next is Andhra Pradesh Primary Education Project. The Andhra Pradesh Primary Education Project was initiated with the assistance of Overseas Development Agency ODA with an estimate outlay of 1000 million rupees during the 8th plan. It adopted a two-pronged strategy of improving classroom transaction by training teachers and giving a flip to school construction activity. The next is Bihar Education Project. The Bihar Education Project was launched in 1991. The main aim of the project was to bring about quantitative and qualitative improvement in the elementary system with emphasis on the education of deprived section of the society, such as SC, ST and women. The project emphasized participatory planning and implementation. The total project outlay was 3600 million rupees, which included the total outlay for the second phase 1996 to 1998, that is rupees 613 million, which was shared by the UNICEF, Government of India and the Government of Bihar. Uttar Pradesh Basic Education Program. The Uttar Pradesh Basic Education Program Bank, through its International Development Agency, it had an outlay of 7,288 million rupees spread over 7 years. The UP government had to share 13% of the total project cost. The project emphasized construction work of schools, block resource centers, BRCs, preparation of training material for teacher trainers and the training of in-service teachers. Non-formal education. The scheme of non-formal education was introduced by the Government of India in 1979 to 80 with the objective of supporting the formal system in providing education to all children up to age of 14 years. Initially targeted 10 educationally backward states of Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal. But the NPE 1986 reviewed the scheme and concluded that it was not catering to the children from habitation without schools working children and girls. Hence, the policy suggested that apart from focusing on 10 educationally backward states, the scheme needed to be extended to urban slums, hilly, tribal, and desert areas, and working children in other states and UTs as well. It also recommended central grants to voluntary agencies for running NFE centers. The Program of Action 1992 further suggested some strategies for strengthening of the NFE scheme as mentioned below. Setting up of non-formal education center based on micro-planning exercise carried out for universalization of elementary education. Center role for community for by involving them in setting up of the center, identification of the instructor, and supervision of the NFE center. Efforts to evolve different models of NFE program for different target groups. Adequate training and orientation of NFE instructors, 30 days initial training of instructors and 20 days in subsequent years, etc. Linkage with the formal school to facilitate lateral entry of the learners from the NFE stream. Efforts to link non-formal courses with formal schools. Adoption of learner-centered approach. The learning levels for the learners to be equivalent to the formal system. The NFE scheme had certain shortcomings in terms of very low investments, poor community involvement, problems in releasing of funds, several quality issues including training of instructors and a number of hours of teaching per day. Evaluation studies on the scheme of NFE were carried out by Parliamentary Standing Committee on Human Resource Development and on the dropout problems. Similarly, another study was conducted by the Planning Commission. Based on the findings of the study, the scheme of NFE was restructured and renamed as Education Guarantee Scheme and Alternative Innovation Education. The new scheme was introduced with effect from April 1, 2001, according to MHRD. EGS and IAE investigates flexible strategies including school in unserved habitations, seasonal hostels or condensed courses for migrating children, bridge courses, residential camps, drop-in centers for street and slum children, remedial coaching for children enrolled in formal schools and short-duration summer camps. The scheme would support the following broad strategies: setting up of the school in schoolless habitations, interventions for mainstreaming of out of the school children, for example through bridge courses, back to school camps, etc. Strategies for very specific difficult groups of children who cannot be mainstreamed. These schemes became later on a part of Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, the overall program for universalization of elementary education. The next is National Program of Nutritional Support to Primary Education, Midday Meal Scheme, 1995. The scheme was launched on 15th August 1995 to give a boost to universalization of elementary education. It emphasized increasing enrollment, retention, and attendance in primary classes by supplementing nutritional requirements of children attending primary schools. The scheme was implemented in 2,408 blocks in the first year and covered the whole country in the phased manner by 1997-98. The program originally covered children of primary stage, classes 1 to 5th in government, local body and government aided schools. It was extended to cover children studying in Education Guarantee Scheme and Alternative Innovation Education Center in October 2002. Here we want to close this lecture or conversation. Thank you so much for choosing this podcast.